Resident Evil The Winter's Expansion is a DLC for Resident Evil 8 The Village, which I thought was a really amazing game and continues to move Resident Evil in the right direction as a franchise. This expansion focuses on Ethan's daughter, Rose. Rose goes on a journey, encouraged by a character named Kay, to rid herself of her powers because she's tired of being a misfit weirdo.
They still treating me like a freak?
Hey! Look at me. You are not a freak.
Kay tells Rose she can do this by acquiring a magic crystal that will purify her.
That sounds crazy. You sound crazy.
Yes, Rose, but not dangerous.
But he does not know how to obtain this crystal, and so Rose is going to have to go into the memories of the Mutamysite to discover its location.
What the hell?
Rose then enters the memories of the Mutamysite, and this starts her Alice in Wonderland-inspired adventure.
Oh my god, Rose is so weird.
Yeah, it's like she sees things that aren't there. Creepy. Stay away from us, you freak.
Imagine wanting to be friends
She's
with her.
definitely
Ew,
not normal.
something just moved on her hand. What is wrong with her?
Shut up!
Stay away from us, you
Freak.
Ew, something just moved on her hand.
Oh, wait. Just disgusting. Please just stop!
I will jump into spoilers later on in the video, but during her journey you are assisted by a spirit that calls himself Michael. Michael will write hints on the wall, give you items,
Seriously? Where am I gonna get a gun?
and in some cases physically move objects and even help you defeat bosses.
What, like this?
This DLC does not have any new areas, although you will revisit slightly modified areas from the original Resident Evil Village.
That sick bastard.
While you do see some familiar faces, they may not be the ones that you hope for, however. This game does play more like Resident Evil 2 or 3 Remake, but it does add a new layer by giving Rose powers. Even though Rose's goal is to remove her powers, she of course needs to use them in order to escape.
Focus?
She progressively gets stronger and stronger and becomes more attuned with the powers as the story progresses.
I feel different somehow.
The first thing you do with Rose is destroy corpse flowers, which I feel like they overused as a puzzle gimmick in the beginning of the game and pretty much throughout all of it.
Suss out the real ones. You'll be swallowed right up if you don't hurry.
There were only a handful of times where you had to discover keys and other items to progress, but that was before she locked her ability to kill Viaplume. The puzzles also did feel somewhat lacking. The only one I really remember offhand is a Predator puzzle, but it was honestly kindergarten levels of difficult. Once you progress a little more, you can start freezing enemies,
Shit! It's even uglier now.
and then you can freeze groups of enemies, and then you knock them down and freeze them. You really don't get any fun powers until later on, and it's only during a boss fight.
He's not dead?
I also did clear this content pretty quickly. It only took me about 3 hours on normal, and that was with taking breaks somewhat frequently during it. Most Resident Evil fans know that your first playthrough is usually your longest, and after you've done it once, you can start flying through the game, so I'm sure this game can be cleared in minutes, possibly. That being said, it doesn't seem to have a new game plus, so I don't really feel encouraged at all to even try playing hard mode or any other difficulty settings, or even trying to speedrun it. And the story, while serviceable, did feel somewhat weak. The only thing the story does is really add more context to the end scene of Resident Evil 8, and it doesn't really progress the story much further than that scene we saw. I was hoping at least for like a setup or a tease for Resident Evil 9, or maybe that's something hidden behind hard mode.
Put that effort into running.
Those shortcomings aside, I did have fun playing through it, more so in the second area. But as mentioned, with the lack of New Game Plus, I don't really see myself playing through it again unless I'm inspired before Resident Evil 9, where she may or may not be the new character. We'll see.
That crystal. I'm tired of being a freak.
Alright, so let's hit that sub button and now talk about spoilers. Alright, spoiler time.
What are you?
I am pretty sure even Helen Keller could see the whole twist of Michael being Ethan the entire time. That being said, the twist with Kay being Mother Miranda was a little more surprising, however I did feel it was kind of weak. I did have a feeling Kay was going to be some type of negative influence, and he may be evil in some sense, but I was hoping it'd be something a little more sinister, like he was an umbrella agent trying to figure out how to make a copy of Mutamysite or something along those lines. Instead, we just kind of retreaded on the whole of Mother Miranda trying to bring Evelyn back to life again.
If we can get our hands on one of these, we might be able to weaken or remove your powers entirely.
Are you kidding me?
And while we did get to revisit some areas and got to see the Duke again, I was a little disappointed we didn't see any of the original 4 bosses in the memories at all. I mean, they teased how the Duke was different and became corrupted when they tried to make a copy of him, so I was hoping, oh, what's Lady Demetress gonna look like now that she's more corrupted? Or Heisenberg, are they gonna make the Fishman more entertaining? But it just never happened. I was excited revisiting Castle Demetresque as well as House Buenavito, and it was leaving me wondering, what's the swamp going to look like now? Are they going to fix it? Are they going to make Heisenberg's factory a little more interesting? We never got to see any of it. But who knows, maybe I'm asking for too much with that. Also, when you return to House Buenavito, I feel like they were teasing that famous big baby the entire time. They were showing all these crayon drawings on the walls, and it left me wondering, oh no. Did the scary baby grow up into something even more horrifying? But again, he was nowhere to be seen. That being said, I will say House Buenavito was clearly the best standout in this DLC. They had dolls hunting you down, as well as this whole section of Don't Let Mother Catch You, and it was really fun and entertaining and honestly made me jump a few times. There's also no traversal at all in this game. Rose is just constantly knocked unconscious and teleported to her next location. Good thing she has regenerative powers, or she might have CTE.
I'm still here?
After clearing House Buenavito, you just end up in the village and take a quick walk through it before facing Mother Miranda, and it felt kind of abrupt. You do obtain the crystal and temporarily lose all your powers, but you find out it was all just a ploy of Mother Miranda, and then Ethan again tries to sacrifice himself so that Rose can live a normal life without her powers. During Rose's journey, though, you do experience the memories of Ethan through game sequences, so she knows how much Ethan cared and loved for her, so of course she ends up embracing her powers in order to save her father, who's already dead.
What's wrong?
And once this happens, they kind of just dump a bunch of really cool powers on you all at once. You can suddenly shadow step.
How intent you were on my throwing them away? I think they just might.
Absorb energy attacks, and summon a giant tree to slap people around like you're the first Hokage. I almost feel like they did plan to have the other areas in the game, like you would get the Shadow Step from Fishman's area, you would get the energy absorption from Heisenberg's factory. Maybe they just ran a time or budget.
Do you still not see? There is no happy ending.
It doesn't really add much else to the story. You get the exact same cutscene you did for Resident Evil 8 Village, only you have a little more context to how she got her father's ring and what she truly means when she says,
I can show you things even Chris doesn't know I can do.
It did seem, however, she was only as strong as she was because she was in the Mutamysite created world, and so she could kind of alter her surroundings. So I'm not really sure how well it's going to translate into a main game. I was a bit disappointed that cutscene didn't get drawn out a little bit further to help set up for a future Resident Evil where she is the main character. But who knows, maybe she isn't the main character.
Way to keep it together, Rose.
I think this DLC will only be worth it if you really, really loved Resident Evil Village and want some more. Otherwise, I would just kind of wait for a sale. For now, I'm going to pretend this is the origin story of Princess Peach in the Mushroom Kingdom.
That sounds crazy. You sound crazy.
Yes,